We're talking pre-upgraded pistols in this episode of the Gear Guide. There are literally hundreds of options for pistols out there when you go looking, but when you start asking around for ones that come pre-upgraded, that list shrinks down significantly. But if you ask anybody for what is the best platform to tune to the top end, most people are going to agree that it is the High Kappa weapon platform. So it's no surprise that Spartan Imports has brought a new High Kappa to the market, but this time it has a twist. It's made by WE and is based on the popular Marui High Kappa spec. But Spartan didn't just start you off with a bare gun here, they rather hooked you up under the hood with some really interesting upgrades, but we're not gonna get to that quite yet. We're gonna talk about externals first. So externally, you get this great metal frame with this matte black finish that looks nice, and they decided not to do the trades on the slide, which I really like. Sometimes that clean, minimalist look really hits the mark. Now to contrast that out, they went with silver highlights. So your hammer, your barrel, trigger, and some screws here on the grip all are in contrasting silver. Now functionally, you get an ambidextrous thumb safety here on both sides, and it's really low profile. Some of these actually stick out too far and you can kind of bump them real easy. This one sits really nice and close to the frame, so you're not gonna set it off accidentally. So you get this grip safety with generous beaver tail, so you're not only gonna get a positive grip, but you won't have to fear about that dreaded hammer smash that gets that soft spot in your hand that most 1911s without it will deliver. There's also an oversized mag release, which does a great job of balancing ease of use with a longer push so you don't accidentally drop that magazine out of the bottom. And also speaking of mag wells, you have a really generous mag well here at the bottom of this comfortable polymer plastic grip here that's also interchangeable. So remember, we talked about the Marui spec. You can change this to any of them, but we really like this one. It gives you plenty of room. So when you're doing quick mag changes, it's real easy to hit without even paying attention. And you get an included 25 round High Kappa mag with it. That's the green gas version. I think this thing will take the CO2 as well, with the real generous bump cap on the bottom. So if you do some really fast mag changes and your mag hits the ground, chances are this is going to protect it in most situations. Now under the hood, you're gonna find a 601 Swiss Arms type bore and 3 more parts, a 70-degree hop-up bucking, an eye key, and an adjustment wheel, and all of those are made by Maple Leaf. So when you combine all these parts together, you have an accuracy package that immediately gets you head and shoulders above most of the base factory pistols out there in the market today. Plus, since this is Marui spec, like we mentioned, you have access to the entire High Kappa catalog for tuning and upgrading, and you can go crazy with all the parts you can find all over the internet if what you get with it just isn't enough for you. But the real question is, does the sum of the parts you get equal performance? Well, on our chrono, we saw a really healthy 335 FPS when using 0.20 gram BBs, which is gonna be right on par with the really higher end, harder shooting pistols in the green gas line. Now, trigger response was also really good, and we noticed there wasn't that normal resistance when you hit the trigger brake. A lot of triggers you pull and you kind of hit a wall, and then that's where it breaks, and then you pull it more. This one's really smooth, so the brake's kind of surprising, which allows for a lot better accuracy if you're into precision shooting. And blowback was very balanced due to a stiffer spring internally in combination with this heavier frame. So all these features in combination with the upgrades you get under the hood from Spartan, and you get a really great pistol that keeps you on target when aiming down the sights. And you know what? This led to a very surprisingly accurate pistol for us, and especially for someone here who's not normally a fan of High Kappas. Now, our only real complaint here on the High Kappa was with the upgraded Maple Leaf hop-up system, that whole package we were talking about earlier. You're gonna really want to run some heavier BBs. We found that even on the lowest hop-up setting, the 0.2s we actually used in our chrono, on the accuracy test, we're over-hopping. We're actually getting that arc up, and it wasn't very accurate. But once we switched to 2.5s or stepped up even to 2.8s or like 3.2s, this was it. I mean, it was a laser beam tack driver, and I'll tell you what, this pistol for the price point was outperforming our shooting ability when it comes to sidearms. So bottom line, if you're in the market for a pre-upgraded pistol that will not break your bank, but actually comes with some great pre-upgraded components, you can pick up the new tuned High Kappa for around $140 US at your local authorized Spartan Imports dealer.